We can all get into a bit of a rut at times where we have zero motivation and we do not want to do anything. It's normal. It's just what happens to, well, all of us. However, just because it's inevitable, it doesn't mean we can't do anything about it. We might not be able to fully stop it, but we can definitely do certain things to help us to try and get back on track. Getting back to how things were is going to be quite simple, actually, and it's all going to start with you doing something which you already do every single day. So let's take a look at how you can get out of a rut. So how do you just lose motivation? Because one moment everything's going fine, you're killing it, you're going to the gym, things at work are going fine, you're just generally having a good time, things are going well. And then just out of nowhere, something just hits you and all of a sudden everything is different. Everything is low, everything feels slow, you don't want to do anything, you just have no drive to do the things you did literally the day before or last week. You just can't bring yourself to do it. And you don't know why. And that is when you just want to sit back, shut yourself in your room, sit on the sofa, whatever. But you just want to seclude yourself away from everything and everyone and not do anything. So what can we do in order to battle feeling just like that? I believe one of the easiest and most reliable ways to just get back on track is by just following the do something principle by Mark Manson. And the whole idea behind it is actually very simple and easy, and it's just to do literally anything that feels productive to you as an individual is a good start, because all it takes in reality is just that one spark to build that momentum going. Because once you do one thing, you're going to do another and another and another, and that thing will just compound and build over time, and by the time you know it, things are back to normal. A good example for that from my own experience would be a couple of weeks ago, for example. That's actually quite recent, where I just had this rut and I just felt crap. I just felt like hell. Up here was a mess and I don't know why. Nothing happened, nothing bad went on, I just really didn't want to do anything. But I told myself I am going to still do the bare minimum. So I kind of scrapped all my plans for that weekend, well, that week actually. And all I did, I focused on the bare minimum when it comes to creating content. I told myself, if I do this and this, that's it, that's fine, I'm done. I do not need to do anything else. And that week, that's all I did. I absolutely love going to the gym, but that week I actually skipped a few days. I genuinely considered not going into work one day as well. It really felt that bad, and once again, I actually don't know why, but I stuck to the plan, not my feelings. And weirdly enough, that week I remembered how people are not going to help you or come and save you. They're not going to push you in the right direction. So that's when I made the video, no one is coming to save you. I thought it fit quite well, and the video, in my opinion, wasn't actually that great. It was low energy, the edit was pretty simple, I didn't put that much thought into it, I just kind of just got it done. And it's actually one of my most viewed videos. People genuinely enjoyed it, but the point was, I just did it. And I must say, after I finished that project, I still felt terrible, kind of like all the way up until the finish line. But once I completed the biggest task of the week, which is kind of making a video, I felt so much better. And the following Monday morning, I felt great. I felt amazing. And then the week after that, smooth sailing. So all week I just stuck to my basics, my principles. I didn't let them go, no matter how I felt. And it was tough. I did not want to do it. Let me tell you now, I did not want to do it, but I did. And I'm glad I did, because if I didn't, I have a feeling the rut I was in was only going to go deeper, and it would have just been so much more difficult to climb out. But sometimes things are just really bad and you really don't want to do anything at all. So on those days, stick with the easiest and simplest things that quite literally take no time or effort, or just the smallest amount possible. So on those days, just get up, brush your teeth, just take the bin out, wipe down your desk, and that's it. Literally leave it there. Don't do anything else productive or that's beneficial to you on that day. Just stick with the absolute utmost basic tasks, only a few of them, even one of them, and just leave it there and just come back tomorrow if it's really that bad. Because the next day you might be feeling motivated to do that and a little bit more, and maybe that's what you're going to need to just propel yourself in the right direction, to do a little bit more, and it might take a week, it might take two, but you will eventually get back to how things were. It really just takes time and a bit of patience. So you probably sat there thinking, well, great, thanks for the advice. If I'm unmotivated to do something, I just need to do something. Whoa, what a genius. Yes, but you actually do it all the time. You just don't realize it, or maybe not thought about it that way. Because how many times do you wake up and feel motivated to go to work? You don't. A lot of times you probably don't want to, but you do anyway. Why? Well, part of it because you must, right? But then because you must, you get up, you drive there, walk there, whatever. When you get there, you feel a little bit better. You might not think that you do, you might not feel like you feel a bit better, but you do. And all of a sudden, you just get your head stuck into things and you just get going. Same as when you get hungry. You don't need some sort of spark or some sort of motivational thing to just go downstairs and make yourself a sandwich or a pot noodle. You just go and do it because you want something to eat. Sometimes just hopping in the shower. You know, like when you have these thoughts, when you kind of sat there and you're thinking, you're all motivated in the shower, thinking to yourself about things. Have a shower. It might wake you up enough for you to then be like, right, I've had my shower, I'm gonna go get this done now. And you might be actually quite surprised at how much you'll get done after doing something as simple as that. Some people will have big things they need to get done, such as writing an essay, creating a sort of project, or making a video, like myself. So instead of sitting there thinking about the entire process and the entire thing, think about chunks. Break it down into sections and chunks. Because in reality, that's what you're going to be doing anyway. You're going to be tackling things in chunks because you can't do everything at once, can you? So you have to start somewhere. So in an essay, you start with a title. In a video, you start with an idea. You start with something, and then you just slowly build up on that. You add to it, you add to it, you add to it. And by the time you know it, you've done it. It's complete. And once again, just making that start is a potential to create momentum. It doesn't matter how big or small, but just make a start on anything because you have no idea where or how far it will take you. So you've managed a few tasks, you did a few things, and you've created some sort of momentum. Well, so what now? I believe we can apply progressive overload to our daily lives in order to get back on track after a rut. Progressive overload is a term you actually hear in the gym pretty often. It's quite commonly used by gym bros, PTs, scientists, whatever, as an indication to just lift more weight, do more reps, but essentially just do more. At the root of it all, it's actually a super simple but an extremely effective way to train. Because if a weight doesn't feel challenging enough, just add more weight to it. If you do a certain weight and after 8 to 10 reps it still feels quite easy, do 12 to 14. Just up the load every time in different ways. And then every single week, every single month, you're doing a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more weight, a little bit more reps. And by the time you know it, you look like Ronnie Coleman. Well, maybe not to that exact extreme, but you get my point. But the exact same principle can be applied to just doing more each and every week in our daily lives. Because I believe incremental increases whilst you're battling a rut or just a tough time is the way forward in order to climb out of it. When we gain a little bit of momentum and our drive or motivation or discipline just comes back, our brain just wants to go into this overdrive mode and just wants to do everything at once and just wants to go hard.
I'm back, motherfucker!
But when that happens, I would say large majority of times, we're just going to yo-yo straight back to the starting point because our brains just couldn't handle that load. Because you have to remember, we just literally went from doing nothing to doing everything. So our brain just can't handle it. Our mind just cannot keep up because our head will just think, well, if we can't keep everything up at 110% at all times, then what's the point? Well, there is a point. Several, actually. But you don't need to go crazy. You don't need to go all in. Like we said, increments, small steps every day. That is the key here. Because by doing things gradually, you're creating something, whether that's a lifestyle, a process, your workload, that is sustainable. And I believe sustainability is the most important thing when it comes to self-improvement, work, gym, getting out of a rut. Honestly, I think sustainability is just important in everything that you want to apply to long term. Because if you can sustain it, even in those low moments, there's a very high chance you're actually going to be able to pull through and do those things. It's kind of like I mentioned earlier, following the plan, not my mood. Because when you're not feeling yourself and you're still following the plan, it might not be as great as when you're feeling yourself. Obviously not. The quality of output will be lower. That's just inevitable. But it's better to be at step 1, which is just doing the bare minimum or just doing something, than being at step 0, which is doing nothing. So be patient and manage your expectations in a realistic way, because our minds can't handle 110% non-stop. They can probably handle that during our best moments, probably even more in fact, but the best moments only make up a fraction of the entire picture. So stop expecting the absolute world from yourself from the very first day. And most important of all, just give yourself that time. Give yourself the time to thrive again, because you will get there. You will get back on track. So just trust the process and it'll be fine. Thank you very much for watching and tuning into this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you have, please let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear about it. Last week, we didn't actually speak about anything because it was the first weekend off I've had in 6 months. So I'm going to leave you with the previous week's video, just here, and I hope I see you there. Once again, thank you.